Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Alleged LA Crip leader, music executive Big U has been apprehended. He turned himself in. I'm going to play a video that you spoke before he turned himself in, where he felt like he was cornered. And we're going to keep it moving, but watch this till the end, man. All right, make sure you subscribe to my daughter's YouTube channel, Juanita Mecca Audio, Juanaita, Mecca Audio. All right. You know what it is, man. Y'all, I'm going to play this joint right here. You know, Harlem Legend put it up, so go check out his page. He put up a nice short. Big U made a speech before him turned himself in. Now, we're going to play this joint. All right?
To see what's going on. They talking about I'm a fugitive. So they just raided all my houses. 600 was actually with the police when they raided my house. And he's actually got video and footage of it. So y'all know what y'all dealing with. And I just want to say this to y'all. When they raided my houses and my property, they was asking about whack, loose cannon, 600, and this internet stuff. All of y'all filed. All y'all who be sending shit around the internet, all y'all who be promoting and listening to what these niggas saying, all y'all giving these likes and hidden likes, all y'all supporting this. All y'all guilty of this fuck shit. If you had something against a black man, you should handle it with a black man in the streets. Wack said 100 times he was gonna take my contracts. He working with the FBI. The FBI went to the city 3 days in a row and told the city they didn't want nobody to give me no more money. They went to all the different celebrities and told all the different celebrities, don't give me no money, don't help me, don't do nothing for me. They going around scaring and intimidating everybody. But y'all sitting it around getting people in trouble. Like y'all don't understand what the FBI do to black men who try to help their community. I ain't been nothing but a help to our community. But I guess it is what it is. This the price of being black and trying to help somebody, trying to help your community and do what you can. You just guilty because somebody else don't like you and they go on the internet and do what the fuck they want to and y'all gonna promote it. It's crazy. But I'm going to go turn myself in, though. To see what's going on.
So that's where it's at, man. That's where it's at. That's where it's at.
Raided all my house.
Now, check, right? When you get locked up, so you understand, you think back at everybody you spoke to, everybody mentioned your name, and you trying to figure out where it came from. But in the meantime, we make a lot of bad moves and leave a lot of things unturned. And instead of us blaming ourselves, we blame others. But a lot of what he said, you know, is true. And what I'm saying, that's why I don't really go into mentioning names when I'm doing my channels and all that. Because when you go mentioning names, you know these people is on the internet. So all I try and do is just give the message as far as what's going on. Now, he's saying that, you know, just to give you some examples, because we riding. He's saying that 600 had videotape, you know, of it while it was going on. So to him, that means that 600 was there and he was down with it. That don't mean 600 was there. You know what I mean? This is the age of social media. 600 could have got it from anywhere. But when, you know, you on the run and, you know, and you fall, you sit there and you try and figure out how you felt and who caused you to fall and who did this and who did that, when we need to be looking at ourselves, you know? So, you know, you can't do no judgment right now as far as guessing what happened, because you ain't seen no paperwork. You don't know what you charged with. You on the run. You know, I'm not defending 600. I'm not defending Wack, but I'm just saying these is his speculations from his mistakes. So therefore, he's going to sit there and look for someone to point the finger at. And he's doing nothing different than what I did. I did that myself. I'm like, only person knew this is that I was over here with this person and this person tried to take a picture. I had to snatch the camera. So did they go tell? And I'm thinking here, so that's all he's going through. But we're going to play this joint real quick and let's see what the news got to say. He turned himself in. And for him to turn himself in, either he feel he's going to get a bail, which that's going to be a no-show. They don't do that, not in the feds. And, especially with the type of charges that he's facing, or, they did something like threaten to go get his mother, threaten to go get his daughter, his wife, if he don't turn himself in. That's the way the feds work. What they do is, right, see, let me rhyme. My prosecutor, right, my prosecutor told me when he locked me up, right? He told my lawyer, not me, because I never talked to the dude, right? He told my lawyer that everyone has a breaking point. And he's baffled because he couldn't find my breaking point. They went after my mother, and I still didn't tell. My mother ran from state to state to state to state for 7 years. It was chaos. But they knew that they felt that that would have been my breaking point. A breaking point is when you grab something close to someone and it breaks them. Because like the Colombians, right? Let me ride. When I was dealing with the cartel, right? And you had the Cali cartel over in Queens, and you had the Medellin over in Washington Heights, had the whole area from 207th Street all the way down to 135th Street, 125th Street. If the Cali cartel came in and sold any drugs in that area, it was war. But it wasn't war with the kingpin that did it, that made the call. It was war with the kingpin's family, friends, loved one, pets, meaning they go and body your wife, your kids, your dog, your cat, your pet monkey, Bubbles, your cat. They're going to kill everything and leave you alive. They want to leave you alive so that they could break you from the inside so you could suffer and blame yourself for losing all your loved ones because you went and sold drugs on their turf. That's a breaking point. The feds look for a breaking point as far as the ones we care about. You know those, but I love a dog ass type niggas. When the dude say, but I love a dog, the fed said, oh, he love her. Let me grab her because I could break him by grabbing her because he love a dog. You see what I'm saying? This is how this thing play out. So they may have went at Big U's breaking point, call his wife, yo. Tell him if he don't turn himself in, I'm coming to arrest you. Now she calls him, yo, baby, you got to turn yourself in because they coming to get me if you don't turn yourself in. I didn't want to have nothing to do with this, and I've been told you to stop and da-da-da-da-da-da. And all this, he's like, yo. And there's just so much praise. All right. So now he turns himself in. He made that video before he went in with a lot of accusations. And all I'm saying is that you got to wait till the paperwork come out and you know what's what. Because for him to sit there and not defending anybody, for him to sit there and put a bone on 600 or whack when he ain't even see the indictment yet. He ain't even get in there yet. So he don't know what they got. So don't put a bone out on people because, you got apprehended. Because where I come from, and it's not a disrespect to Big U, but I'm just calling a spade because I'm trying to give you all the jewels. That's called dry snitching. You know what I mean? You said you don't want them calling your name out there. You know what I mean? And you're in that situation because they called your name, and then you sit here on Instagram, and then you go and turn and call their name. Nah, that's like right, 'cause we ride. When the feds brought all the rats that they had for me, I mean all the rat bastards. You understand? When they brought those rat bastards out, right? They tried to tell my lawyer to tell me, because like I said, I refused to talk to the prosecutor. They tried to tell my lawyer to tell me, right, that I might as well tell on my co-defendants that's telling on me because, they already telling on me, so now I need to tell on them. You know what I did? Gunshots. I fired the lawyer. And he's lucky I didn't have a gun because I don't know what I would have did. But, you know, we're not trying to go down that road. But I'm just letting you know how this thing play out, you know. You don't talk to the police, you get arrested, you're a criminal, especially when you got a RICO charge, you're connected to a RICO, even if you're the little man on the totem pole. And whoever pleads guilty first, that means they got to tell what happened, what they did, and then they got to tell, you know, what they did with others. So that's why I don't like that guilty plea stuff. I just go to trial. If I get caught, okay, I did it. You know what I mean? I'm guilty, I'm pleading guilty. You know, that's why you commit a crime by yourself. But when you get in a conspiracy, if one man pleads guilty, that means everything else is going to fall. And that's how that play out. That's why I'm trying to tell you now, it's not worth it to go on the street. Let's play this out, see how they got Big U.
Begin with breaking news. This just in. The FBI says that South LA crime boss Eugene Big U Henley is now in custody. Authorities say he ran a mafia-like organization while masquerading as a music mogul and gang peacemaker. Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez spoke to a rapper who worked with him. She joins us live with a story you'll see only on Fox 11, and this story breaking as we speak, Christina.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I am hearing that Big U and the other person they were looking for, Brian Mejia, both turned themselves in. This is developing as we speak, and as we speak, people are coming up and saying, on the one hand, that he did a lot for the community, and then there are those like this woman who say things are not what they seem. Listen to her.
No, I'm not surprised because I've been fighting this fight for a long time.
Rapper Alicia Choi speaks about federal authorities accusing LA rap music executive and community activist Eugene Big U Henley of leveraging his connections with the Rolling 60s Crips to run a criminal enterprise, even funneling funds from his community nonprofits into his criminal operations.
You cannot do evil when the cameras are off and smile and help kids when the cameras are on.
Choice, who you may have seen in rap videos like this one, says she was a budding artist when she first met him.
I was just a young kid wanting to rap and wanting to live out my dream and working hard. And, you know, he really took advantage of me. I wanted to help bring donations into his nonprofit development options. And with that being said, he just wanted to take over. He wanted to bully me. He wanted to control me. And when I wouldn't allow that, that's when he started jumping on me and beating me, extorting me, threatening people not to work with me. And I was scared for a long time to speak up. I was actually terrified.
Right there, that's going to be one of Big U's future witness, so no need to point the finger at the brothers from YouTube, even though I don't agree with what a lot of people do on YouTube. But right there, you hear young ladies, it sounded like she was talking about Diddy for a minute. What Diddy was accused of? He said he was beating her, jumping on her, extorting her. You were kind of big to be jumping on this little woman, so I don't know if that's possible, but it sounds good for the media to make him look like this big bad monster. And you know, from what I've seen on YouTube, because I don't know him personally, I can't really see him going to the extent on jumping on this woman. But that's what she said. You hear what it is. But I call a spade over here, Unique Mecca Audio. It's nothing nice. Right now, it's really a war on the rappers. You don't see how all of our rappers are going down? What happened to the rock and rollers? You know what I mean? What happened to the rock and rollers? There's no rock and rollers that do anything? Oh, yeah, and check it out, right? My man Lucci gave me this shirt. Check this out so y'all see, right? You know what I mean? This what Diddy told my man Lucci, and he put it on the shirt, right? Move this chain out the way, you know? Everybody want to go to the party, but nobody want to come to court now that I'm caught up. That's what Diddy told my man. Everybody want to go to the party, but nobody want to come to court, you know? I ain't ashamed to wear it because I already know how that is. When you get caught up, all your friends run off on you, they leave you, you get people up here from the neighborhood that was working with your organization. You know, disgruntled people. That's like a woman scorned. You know, you never know what she's going to say. That's why that's crazy, and I can't wait to see how this is going to play out with Big Meech and Tammy Cohen. Because when you got a woman scorned, you don't know what to expect, but you already know that you take what she say with a grain of salt because she's speaking from a scorned place. She's not speaking from a truthful place. She's speaking from an emotional, get even, get revenge space. All right, let's see what's going on here.
And I want to emphasize these are very serious accusations she is making. And, you know, she says it is her fear, which makes it very difficult to follow up on these things. But she says her fear kept her from going to police. She did not file police reports, but that she did try getting a restraining order at one point.
Sounds like a lawsuit coming.
Now, what the feds, and we'll go to his photo again because it's hard to see him as a person that the feds are saying what he did when we are used to seeing him in such a different light. What they're charging him with has nothing to do with what she is accusing him from. The charges do not include anything of what she's saying, but they do say that part of the investigation involves the murder of another young rapper back in Las Vegas. Back in 2021, I talked to police in Vegas, and they told me over the phone that the murder was over, are you ready for this? A diss, that he had written something in a song supposedly talking bad about Big U, and that is why he ended up getting murdered. That's what the police were telling me. So it's just still developing. There's going to be a lot more to this whole thing, but we can tell you he has turned himself in, and I'm sure a lot of people are waiting to hear what he has to say about this, including us. I'm Christina Gonzalez, live, Hayden Park. Back to you guys in the studio.
And Christina, there's a connection to Shaquille O'Neal as well, right?
You know, I have not had time to look into that, and I am so wary of the, you know, because what's happening is a lot of people were seen with him. We're putting money into this nonprofit, and now the feds are saying that he took a lot of this money and it did not end up going to help kids. Again, keep in mind, that doesn't mean that kids were not being helped in some capacity by the organizations. The question is where the money went. It's not just Shaq, it's other rappers, other big names that I want to have time to really look into these allegations. Because even with the feds saying it, these are personalities that are well loved in this community, and they need to also have a chance to respond for themselves.
Yeah.
So, you know, stay tuned. We'll let you know as soon as we can confirm more things. But yeah, even Shaquille O'Neal, part of this whole thing. How sad.
Yeah. All right, Christina Gonzalez, thanks for...
See, they didn't even say how Shaquille O'Neal had anything to do with this, but yeah, she talking about how sad, and she's carrying on. From what I've seen on YouTube, Big U was doing a lot of positive things, and it looked like he did change his life around. But, you know, like he said in the video I played at the beginning, you know, a lot of what's said on YouTube is what these people listen to in order to know where to go, how to go, and you know, all they gotta do is sit back and look at YouTube, and they hear what everybody's saying, and whether it's true or not, they grab the most craziest story, grab that person, get a couple of disgruntled people around them, lock them up, throw them in it, and that's the way all of this go. But come on, man. If y'all can't see that this is a war on us, I don't know what to tell you. Now they coming at the rap industry. Why aren't they going at the rock and roll industry? White guys don't commit crime in America. White guys is not in gangs. I mean, I don't want to say no, you know, white gang names, but I know y'all know some big ones that been around in this country for decades, you know, and they don't go with them. They look what they doing. You know, just pay attention, man. Big U, hold your head, and try and refrain from the accusations until you see the paperwork and you have the paperwork, and then you already know what to do. Shoot the paperwork out and go. But, you know, I understand that, you know, Big U was in a different headspace when he made the video that I showed earlier. And, you know, I don't feel comfortable with anyone putting a bone on somebody with no paperwork. That's the way I feel about it. Big U haven't even been picked up yet, so I don't feel he should have threw 600 name out there or whack 100 name out there like that. And that's not to defend him. I'm just telling you from a street point of view, you don't do that. Just like Big U said, if you got an issue with a black man, deal with him on black man time. And Big U, you should have did the same because it looked like you was like a tit for tat. And you know you don't do that. And you know, I'm not going to get involved in gang business, but I want y'all to know when y'all sit there and you say you got to check in when you come to my city and you check in when you come to my state, them people is watching that. You that big that someone need to check in and pay homage and bring the bag or whatever in order to walk the streets that the people is paying taxes for us to protect? Them people don't like that. Once all that, I just came home in 2020, right? Because we ride. I just came home in 2020, and since I've been home, I've been hearing that you got to check in. Dog, I done went from New York to up to Boston to Connecticut, and you understand? What's that other way up there? New England or something, upstate New York, down to Philly, Baltimore, D.C., Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Atlanta, you know, down Miami, and all the way over to Chicago to do my thing. And Ohio, Cleveland, you know, and I never had to check in. I never heard nothing about no checking in. And I wasn't no tough guy. I didn't check in. I went there and showed that I'm willing to bust my gun if somebody get in the way of me getting my funds. That's it. The check-in is that. You go, they don't like what you're doing, you go in the wrong neighborhood, you got certain men that say we don't want no out-of-towners here or nobody coming here that's not from our block, and they go to war, you go to war, somebody wins, somebody give up. But 9 times out of 10, I win because nobody know where I came from. But me coming into town, I know where everybody, mama live, they dog live, they cat live, they pet monkey Bubbles live. So how could I lose a war when I know where everyone live? And nobody even know me other than I'm a new face in the block trying to get some money, cutting their throat with the prices. Yeah, cutting their throat. But that's the way it is. But that's why I'm telling you, don't do it. It ain't worth it, because I lost a lot of good soldiers and good men living like that. So we're not trying to have y'all live like that. And it looks like Big U cleaned his life up, started moving the youth in the right direction over there, because from what I hear, even his sons wound up becoming a professional, NFL player, you know, from going through the very program that Big U run. So let's look at the positive things he did and not just jump on the bandwagon like this young lady did. And now, you know, the things that you wouldn't say when he was out here, now that he's in there, you want to say he was a monster. And now you got all these reasons why, because you think he's contained. So what are you going to do if he do get bail? Come on, man. Let's just relax, man. Everybody slow down, take a deep breath, let the process play out the same way I said it with the Diddy case, and let the paperwork come out. And that go for Big U, too, for yelling 600 and Wax name, and for anybody else to yell names. And then I heard they got little Brick Baby in there. You already know he was caught up with the little dirt thing. You know, I mean, come on, dog. Slow down. Like I said, my number's on the screen. If anybody want to call me respectfully, just call in. We could talk and try and, you know, prevent you from going down the wrong path. Been on here long enough, 20-something minutes. I done gave you all enough. Have a good night, man. I'm going to follow up on this tomorrow. Just want to let y'all know. Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Big U has turned himself in, and the war has begun on the hip-hop industry. So all you rappers better look out. Any rappers that was in contact with him, even the rappers that was checking in, as they call it, they're going to go to all the rappers that done been to L.A. and that they feel checked in, and they're going to try and get them to be a government witness, saying that they feared for their life, and if they didn't pay Big U money when they went there to check in, you know what I mean, that the Rolling 60s would have did this and that, and Rolling 60s run over there, and da-da-da-da, and they deserve to be off the street. That's the way they play it. So be careful out there.
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
Fresh out the can of 26. He back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. An Instagram page and a YouTube you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, make an audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. They be horn uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend a ear. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community ours, so we can give back to the